Alright, guys, we're talking about E3. This better work. This has been so troublesome.
Uh,
Alright, so first off, for E3, I do want to say we're going to be talking what we're talking about right now, day zero and day one. So that's like the E3, the Sony, like the Sony, Microsoft press announcements, and then just a couple of different conferences that have been going on since then. So first off, I want to introduce my guest.
Customer 41.
Oh, I guess he can introduce himself.
I'm a beast.
But so first off, I definitely do want to say I'm surprised that I don't think Sony won this round.
That's because they're planning too far ahead in the future.
I definitely agree with that because a lot of the games that I was interested in, most specifically Order, which every time it just digs the knife in a little bit deeper that they pushed that back because that was a game I was really excited about.
Mm.
They pushed a lot of their stuff back, and it seems like yeah, they're definitely going for that longer game. And Microsoft put everything out on the front, like boom, just throwing stuff at you. Heck, even one of their things they announced came out that day.
That's true, it did.
But it was like everything was it was like the difference between where a long-term business strategy and a short-term appeasement and enjoyment. So it's like I got hyped at Microsoft, but I looked at Sony and said, "Yes, I'm excited, but I'm not hype."
Sony's trying to put as much time as possible into their first party games,
And
and
I
hopefully
don't
they're trying to see if their third party games can carry them to 2015.
and I don't disagree with that, but like it's, at the same time as just looking at the conferences as a separate entity,
Hmm.
I think Microsoft won. But looking at like the content and stuff that's really excited, like I a lot of the games that they showed, I was like, you know what? I like to think like 4 or 5 games that they talked about, but at the same time, there's a lot of stuff I looked at and like, yeah, I'm not buying that. No, like starting your conference with Call of Duty. I'm tired of you
Why not start your conference with the best selling arcade shooter in the world?
because I hate it, and they should appease to solely my interests.
Like, hey, we were going to start this game with Call of Duty, but since Mike isn't here, we're going to start the Microsoft contest with the Order.
And like the game that we don't even have.
Exactly. I know you want this, so we're going to release it early on the Xbox 360.
And
But I
you,
don't
I mean, even if it was on 360, I'd go out and rebuy a 360.
just for that. Like, screw the lawsuits.
But like as far as like the things goes, they announced some pretty. They like they didn't. Well, they didn't. All right, they announced. I have air quotes that no one can see, but uh, Halo, the Master Chief Collection,
So
the thing,
everything but Wars, ODST, and Reach.
the thing that everyone saw coming, but like I saw one person on a thread surprised by that, and I just kind of looked at them in shock. Like, I'm surprised that you're surprised.
Yeah, I mean they've been pumping this Halo like pretty hard, so
But like
bound to
everything that's
happen.
for everything that's been announced, that has to be the best bang for your money.
Yeah, how many games is it in one go?
Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo 4, and I think that's it. I feel like there's more.
There should be. I know we're forgetting one.
But anyways, that's a lot of games, and the best part about that is all of those multiplayers are being carried over. Which
Mm,
like I don't know if that's gonna be like all separate lobbies. So like, do you want to play Halo 1? Here's your own lobby.
pretty sure it'd be kind of OP if you went to Halo 1 with those Promethean weapons. That
Well, yeah, like yeah, definitely. Also, I didn't see like I actually there is a gameplay thing that I have to watch later that I just got a link to, where they actually have the gameplay. So I don't know if they updated the graphics to like Halo 5 level graphics.
I don't think it'd be Halo 5 level, but I'm sure they upscaled it.
Oh yeah, I know they upscaled it. But I'd be interested to see how far. But as far as that goes, like that, I think like I'm definitely gonna buy that because I do really enjoy Halo 1, Halo 2. They're fun games, and I really liked Halo 4's story. As far as Halo is also announced, they talked a tiny bit about the Halo TV show that's being made,
Mm.
which I have like I I'm sorry, I have no interest in that because you had a really interesting Halo. You had Halo 4 Unto Dawn. It was great up until the moment that Master Chief showed up.
Ouch! You're going straight for the neck on that one.
It was way more interesting as a sci-fi and military thing than it was as a Halo venture.
But you can't forget it was Halo. That's what the thing is about. So to make a Halo movie without Master Chief is a travesty.
No, it's just like I understand that, and I understand, but like I'm saying in that specific storytelling element that they used there, I wasn't. I like they didn't really bring me into really like Master Chief. Partially because he only shows up and he's like, yeah, I'm the guy that's gonna solve all the problems without any character.
But you're his character. He's whatever you want him to be. He's imagination. I just made a
Can
rainbow
he
with
be
my
the
hand.
attractive girl from Halo?
If you really want him to be.
That gives me confusing feelings. But
Hey, you brought that on yourself.
yeah. But they also announced Halo. They also talked about Halo 5. Didn't announce it, but it's Halo 5 Guardians, and you're gonna get like a beta with it if you get the Master Chief Collection. I'm excited to see where it goes as far as a storyline because I actually did personally enjoy Halo 4 story,
Hmm.
mostly due to the payoff, like with the relationship between Cortana and Master Chief, just like the payoff you get with that. But the multiplayer I also did enjoy, and I really like. I've kind of gotten away to play away from playing PvP multiplayer when it comes to shooters.
And why is that? Like,
I think I've just played too many of them. I've been playing Halos and Call of Duties and Battlefield 4s and Battlefield 4's horribly, horribly buggy release.
okay, that was ages ago.
That was like a 2, 3. That was a few months.
That was 2013.
Okay, wait. Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah. It
we
was.
are we are halfway through 2014.
Yep. Shut up. It was
Man, you can
close.
hold a grudge.
I can. I think it's actually almost a solid year. No, wait, no, that
No, no,
wasn't a solid year.
November would be a year.
But no, as far as like I've kind of gone away from playing military shooters, and but like this might be the one to pull me back. I don't know, or I don't know. But as far as that goes, like I enjoyed like the peaks that we got at that.
Hmm.
Uh, and from Halo to Destiny.
Halo
Oh
just
god.
showed a little leg. Destiny pretty much flashed the goods.
Oh god. Like there was oh so much coverage. Um, like the only questions that I still have right now are how are they gonna handle like because you have these customizable loadouts and all this stuff. How are they gonna handle player choices when it comes to like the like actual really big instance combat? Um, and I'll give an example from my personal thing playing MMOs with Secret World.
Mm.
So, Secret World is an MMO that I was stupidly excited about. I really liked the premise and stuff. When I got the game didn't live up to it. But we got to a raid boss, and I was with a group of people, and we had been like talking. We were working together. We're gonna do great on this raid boss. The raid boss was the highlight of the game by a long shot because it was this intricate thing of teamwork. You have to work together because you're in this arena with pillars to block you from being seen by the creature. When it sees you, you get like frozen in place. So you have this whole thing of keeping track of where he is, watching the pillars, fighting the little enemy minions that show up to try to distract you while he comes around to hit you. And if you leave him alone for too long, he breaks the pillar so that you have less coverage.
Mm.
So I'd be interested to see if they take elements of like this really smart interaction of your environment, your player coordination, and the different loadouts that you have to give you all these different options and ways to address the different missions or the different bosses or the different arenas or stuff like that.
Yeah, but I think that would be like pretty complex in something like that, especially with the different loadouts you're gonna have.
That's what
Like
I'm concerned about.
if you have a sniper rifle, being in an enclosed area like that with pillars isn't really gonna suit you. So you're gonna have a really hard time with that boss.
But I want like the fact I want it to be like the it that it maybe it's hard, but it doesn't feel like the game's going like no, shut up, do what I want you to do.
It's not like saying, "Hey, your build isn't viable, so now I'm gonna punish you for it."
That that Secret World did.
Mm.
We have limitless builds. Only like 3 of these are viable.
Have fun though.
But no, so I'm excited. The actual shooting at gunplay does look pretty good.
Looks crisp.
It looks arcadey. It looks arcadey, which isn't a bad thing. but I'd be interested to see how that overlaps with the MMO elements.
Pretty sure it will feel similar to Planet Side too.
I was saying like it might feel like similar to that combined with like Borderlands.
Yeah, as
Like
well as the loadout goes.
yeah, with like the loot hunt. Like I want this gun and it has like this effect and things like that. So maybe that'll be a good element because like that'll keep you going to try to strive to get that bigger stuff.
Mm.
And like the character loadouts and things like that because you have like the overlap of like what your characters can do. Because I'm pretty sure that every character can wield every weapon.
I don't, I don't know about that. I'd have to look. I will have to look into that
Because
again.
I've read a
Pretty
couple
sure.
things and I haven't read anything that said that's not the case, and I've read some stuff early on that said that was the case, but I don't know if it's been changed.
I'm pretty sure certain characters are better with certain weapons, but I
That would
don't
make
think there's
sense.
anything like limiting you from holding whatever weapon you want.
But like Destiny honestly looks really interesting. It looks like it's gonna be it's going to be the MMO that really successfully bridges the gap between console gameplay and MMO gameplay.
Mm.
Because you had games that tried that, like you had what was it? You
Whole
had
thing.
Final Fantasy.
No, no. What's the name of that one? Skyrim, the new Skyrim one. The
Yeah,
that's
and
it.
you had the Skyrim Online. I no, no,
Elder
it's
Scrolls
Elder
Online.
Scrolls Online, and the DC Universe Online, and
Yeah,
all of those games I think failed at that because they were either they felt like PC ports rather than having this control scheme that felt like designed solely for being on a console. And
mm.
this seems like it's being geared as a console first, and then it's being adapted to PC.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good change of pace.
Like what was it? That was one of my biggest complaints about Final Fantasy 14 was it felt like I was playing a PC game just put into an awkward control console control. But
That's true.
so I'm pretty excited about it. I don't know what SKU I'm gonna get for it. Depends on if I have my PS4 by that time. But it does look really exciting, and it looks like there's enough variety in your options. I just hope that all of the options are viable. Maybe not like easy. Like most likely there are some ways that are going to be easier than others, like
Yeah.
optimized builds. But I hope that everything's viable.
What I'm afraid of, as far as the viability thing goes, is PvP. Like,
That
if you have two people that are the same level, but one person has, say, a high level friend that helps them get different weapons, those people aren't really on the same level because one of them's going in with an advantage.
I'm waiting for the guy. I'm waiting for the person that goes, I fight only with rockets.
That guy will get himself killed a lot.
Everyone hates that guy.
Yeah, then you got that one item I saw where it was a one-shot pistol, where it will
Oh yeah.
kill like AI. I'm not sure if it was AI or if it was players, but it will kill them in one shot, assuming you actually hit the shot, of course.
But like
Seems like that's gonna be like a balancing act that they gotta play.
and that's gonna be that's gonna be one of the really difficult elements of that. I feel.
Like how many times can you do that per match? Is that like a every time you get 2 kills you can hit them with that pistol, or is it every 3 minutes or every 2 minutes or something like that?
I mean, I wouldn't even know where to go with that because then you have the whole issue of is this cost effective for you because you're taking up one of your spots in your thing like that ends up going down to this whole thing of optimization in your build like we said earlier.
Yeah,
As far as like stuff coming up as well, like you have things like the Smash Brothers announcements, which I'm excited about Smash Brothers. I still am. I really want to like none of the new characters that were announced. I'm really excited about. I'm excited. I want to play Little Mike.
see, no,
Little
the
Mick.
Little Mac's good, but the one champion of the whole thing is gonna be the villager. Just watch. Just watch. He's gonna go snatching up everybody's abilities. He's gonna throw them back at you. You don't know when it's gonna happen.
But what I also like is no more transforming characters.
Mega Evolution Lucario.
No characters that transform into other characters on the roster.
Okay, I'll buy that.
Gotcha. Like I had to be more specific. But yeah, it's like it definitely seems like they're trying to skew it more towards a blend of the competitive and the casual.
Yeah, they're definitely leaning more towards competitive because
But
Brawl was straight casual.
the
Like, there's
only
no doubt about
issue
that.
with that is I know people that played that actually did end up playing like the Smash Bros. Game competitively. A flat stage isn't balanced.
Yes, it is. It's flat.
You
It's the
need
epitome
platform.
of balance.
You need platforms there because some characters only work because they have platform game play.
And that's where the viability thing comes in. Like, because that gives them an advantage over a character who doesn't need platform.
Like what was it? Basically, it's gonna be little. It's Little Mac will run competitive most likely
Yeah.
because he
On maps like Final Destination, he'll be great, but on maps like Battlefield, it'll be kind of awkward.
but like the whole thing is like the Final Destination setup,
Mm.
like the thing that like it levels the maps so everything's like the flat thing.
Yeah, but I'm sure that like even in competitive play, they do have maps with platforms.
Oh, they do, but like the what I'm saying is if the tournaments only use the for glory mode, that's
Tournaments
actually
aren't online.
no for glory mode is offline as well, I believe. There's a setting for glory.
No, I mean competitive tournaments. Those aren't online. Those are offline.
Oh yeah, no, I know, but it's like it's gonna be that the tournaments will have to end up choosing certain maps to be have platforms, not have platform. It's gonna be a whole thing. Like it's gonna be the same issue that they've had with competitive Smash Brothers for a while, where it's knowing what stages are allowed and which aren't. Like you know what stage is never allowed? Poke floats.
Why? Because it's too unpredictable. It has to be consistent and
Oh,
balanced.
I just thought the floats looked ugly.
Nah, it was
No,
unfair.
I'm not an idiot.
Inconsistent is the word I'm looking for. Sorry.
But yeah, like I'm interested in that. Like it'll definitely one of the games that make me buy a Wii U. That and well, as we're on the Wii U, we actually got some third-party games that I'm actually interested in, which is the Devil's Due or the Devil's Third. I'm sorry, that was a movie I was thinking of. Devil's Third looks pretty interesting, but beyond it being interesting, it's a third-party game on the Wii U that's not catering towards a family-friendly or child market.
Hmm,
It's
that's true.
something different.
It's a game designed for the gaming audience instead of for the gaming audience's kids.
Like I'm not saying that every game needs to appeal solely towards the violent market, but that is a market that exists that wasn't being really catered to at all,
I
or
mean, you
not.
got your Bayonettas and stuff,
That's
but
not even out yet.
I know they announced it though.
That's that was announced like when the Wii U came out.
I know that. That's what I
I'm
said. You have
still
your
waiting
Bayonettas
for
and
it.
stuff.
I don't care. I want it.
It's not gonna happen, man. It's gonna come out with the order.
No, no, no. All right, so Platinum made a deal with Microsoft to make games, and I'm waiting for Bayonetta 3 to be an Xbox One exclusive. So we've now made everyone pissed off at this franchise.
You have to own all three in order to play it.
You have to have owned a PS3 or a 360 to play one, a Wii U to play two, and an Xbox One to play three.
I think Xbox gets the better deal and a better end of the deal on that because they have two systems you could own to play it.
Exactly. But no, it's Oh yeah, so the Platinum deal with Microsoft, we saw. I believe we've only seen one game for that, and that's that Scalebound, which we only saw a CG trailer for that, but that actually looks really good. It looks like it gives me Monster Hunter vibes,
Mm,
and I don't know how heavily they're gonna scale to that because
it's good
it's
there.
yeah, because it's like we see him get like this armor attribute similar to. I couldn't tell if the armor was based off the dragon or the thing it was fighting because it was a really short video. And I'll look over it a couple more times, but I'm pretty sure it was based off the dragon that was helping him. And then at the end, like, and then he gets this armor, so maybe it's based like you have abilities based on your allies. But the character's design is Dante.
And that's just baby by the game.
So you're gonna buy that Xbox One?
Oh, Microsoft, you trolls! Why must you do me like this?
First they go Killer Instinct, then Scalebound.
You give me that Sadira alternate costume, and then you give me TJ combo. And now this man.
Oh
I
yeah,
give in.
I
I go.
almost forgot about TJ Combo.
Oh yeah, he's coming out.
Like, all right, so people are complaining about TJ Combo's design. I don't have an issue with it in any way,
The
shape,
only
or form.
He's the only actual like guy in the thing that's not technically Jago because Jago's a
Exactly. Like, but even Jago's a larger than life character. He's this Tibetan monk with a demon inside of him, but he also has like this holy tiger spirit. Fucking TJ Cobb's a guy that punches things.
like I don't need fireballs. I have my fists.
He's Balrog. And actually, that was like a complaint I saw some people like he seems to like his design is actually pretty close to Balrog's,
Yeah, with
but
those dash punches and stuff.
it's like at the same time it's like aesthetically like if you look in like a lot of things like the whole scars on the arm, which it's like the cybernetic arms that he had being taken off.
Hmm.
And it's like this whole thing like apparently he's gonna have like this redemption style storyline, which I mean honestly the storyline in KI was really bare bones. Let's be honest.
Define bare bones. You mean like spinal bare
You
bones
got a thing
or
at the beginning saying your story, and that's basically then you got a cutscene at the end that was three still images.
ah? Okay then.
Anything else?
Oh, I think you've hit the nail on the head on that.
But like but then again, it's a fighting game. I don't care that much about the story.
Some people do. I
And
mean,
for those people, we have Mortal Kombat 10
and Injustice,
and Mortal Kombat 10.
but Injustice too.
Yeah, wasn't any three. But yes, Injustice 2 is a thing. The only thing I'm concerned about that is we don't know who's working on that because we know Mortal Kombat 10 is being developed by NetherRealm Studios, but Injustice isn't owned by NetherRealms. It's actually owned by Warner Brothers.
I'm aware of that. Anyway, so
So
how are you feeling about speaking of Injustice in Mortal Kombat 10? How are you liking those interactables? Because I know you were a big fan of Ferris Aircraft. So how you liking interactables in Mortal Kombat?
So Injustice, so Mortal Kombat got we saw some gameplay. We actually saw some new characters, and the way they're handling the story and the characters you get to play, I'm interested in because as opposed to being like where they left off was a really difficult way to follow up the story because basically everyone's dead. Kind of hard to do a funny game with memorable characters if you killed off most of the memorable characters.
Dragon Ball Z, Rick, wish them all back, my friend. Just wish them all back.
But it seems like what they're doing is rather than doing like a cop out way of like, all right, let's retell the let's go back in time again and do the same story over again. Instead, what they're doing is they're actually going forward in time till right after the events of Mortal Kombat 9 to 25 years in the future, from what I've read. I don't know how accurate this is, if this is just the time frame that they're supposedly working within, or if it's literally going to bridge that 25-year gap,
Ooh,
which would be interesting. But
very.
they have all these different things. Like they had like when they announced that they were talking about three different versions of each character, three different SKUs. I was concerned about that, but the way they're handling it seems pretty interesting. Where you have like the example they gave us was Scorpion. He had two versions: his ninjutsu form or his ninjutsu mode, which is like a lot more blade work, and then his Hellfire mode, which was more focused on that and gave him like access to his trait from Justice.
So we give each character a different feel depending on how you want to play them.
And the way I see this working out in tournament level play is similar to you not being able to change your character after winning, but say your opponent goes to switch a character or to switch something up, you get to switch your ultra, so you do have some form of counterplay against what they're doing, but you're still playing the same character, but you can play them a bit differently because you're fishing for something different. But in this case, you actually get to change how your character functions a little bit. They're still going to be fundamentally the same character, but there's something different that lets you have more variety.
Yeah.
What I'm concerned about with this, and we actually talked a good bit about this, is what's going to happen, like, if something just becomes the optimized version of this character. Like, there's no point to play any other version except this version of Scorpion or this version of Sub-Zero.
That's when nerfs happen.
But it's like, I don't know how they're gonna handle it, because, like, giving him access to that Hellfire,
The
trait, like, that trait that gives him, like, passive chip, just seems almost overpowered. Like, just seems like it'd be, like, really, really useful compared to just having more access to more sword tricks.
Yeah, but it's like, would you rather have chip or a really strong 50-50 game? It's kind of
And
like that. It's kind of like that trade-off.
that'll be the trade. And like, they'd have to make each version of it, each version be interesting, viable, and balanced, which is really, really hard because that's essentially almost, you're almost making three different characters out of each character.
Mm.
That's a large task to handle.
Well, if anyone could do it, NetherRealms can.
Actually, yeah,
That,
they tend to do really good. They tend to do really good job with that. Only other like in the and then speaking of interactables, we do have interactables.
that tree branch OP.
Like from what Ed Boon was saying, 'cause actually Ed Boon did get on to talk about this. Um, Interactables that can be used as weapons, like the projectiles and stuff like that, are no longer unblockable.
Good.
But even still, I don't know how this is going to work in balancing. If it's something like it's a style point in your combo, or it's something, it's a screen specific portion of your combo, we've already have that in fighting games. Fine, I'm okay with that because that's like we already have, corner specific combos. We already have things that are actually specific portions of the screen. You can only perform this certain version of your combo.
Mm.
That's already a thing in fighting games. So I'm okay with it if it's handled in that regard. But if it's something like but if it's just like this obtuse element that just gets in the way of the flow of the game, then it's not fun. You have the situation of I'm gonna sit here in the corner of the screen with this thing that just keeps you away from me, and I'm just gonna keep chipping you out, and you can't do anything about it.
I feel like it should. I don't mind it doing like the unscaled damage it does, but if it's like it can't be like this. You do I don't know a 50 hit combo. I know that's exaggerating, but you do like a combo with a bunch of hits, and then you hit him with that, and it still hits you for 30% by itself. That's ridiculous. Like maybe like you can block it, but if you like use it like use one of those small ones like the tree branch or you bounce them off a wall or something, you should be able, that should be like I don't know like 10% max.
Block button.
That's why I said mid combo.
I know, block button. It's still there.
That's the counterplay to it.
All of you assholes say that he's gonna do push back to block. No, this is Mortal Kombat. We have a block button. I don't even like the block button, and I love that it's in here.
Wouldn't Scorpion be OP without a block button?
You would have Injustice, where we found a block button. It was just hold down.
Good times.
But no, like seriously, people that like I know a bunch of people that are pissed off that they shouldn't do a block button. It's doing pushback to block is infinitely better. You know what? As a personal thing, I personally prefer pushback to block. That's what I usually play. But the very fact that there are people that enjoy the block button, and there are actually uses and reasons block button can actually be viewed as better. Yeah, the very fact like it's a thing for other people. Do you want just another Capcom game but with reskinned for Mortal Kombat skins? Or do you want a Mortal Kombat game that's a different thing for more variety in your fighting games?
Exactly. It's not meant to feel like Capcom. It's meant to feel like Mortal Kombat.
The one thing that they can take from Capcom, though, is fixing the way their hitboxes work.
And why is that, Mike?
Because for those people that don't know the way that Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter handled their hitboxes, Street Fighter originally had hitboxes very similar to what MK9 had, where it was 3D hitboxes, but it feels weird. You're on a 2D plane with a 3D hitbox. It feels weird. It wasn't until Seth Killian came to talk to them that they switched it to handling more like a 2D hip to handling a 2D hitbox with a 3D character model.
Mm.
They need to do something similar to that. Like it's not a feel. It's not a thing of it's gonna make it feel more like Street Fighter. It's gonna make it feel more fluid.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's one of the go.
That was the one. That was the only thing keeping me away from Mortal Kombat. Like I liked some of the characters. I liked the combo system. I just didn't like how clunky it felt when compared to a game like Killer Instinct or Street Fighter or anything like that. It's like it didn't feel as smooth. It felt like it just didn't hit when they should have. Felt like something one thing or another was wonky at any given time.
It's one of the things like the uncanny valley. It's close enough to being something that you notice all of the little things.
Mm.
But like if they fix that, and that's like one of the things that I was hesitant to say because it's like, oh, take this note from Capcom, but in reality, it is a thing. Like it is actually an issue, just with an aesthetic issue, especially with the thing that they were pushing. They were saying this cinematic fighting, this cinematic, aesthetically speaking, that looks better. But at the same time, when I saw the little gameplay things, I didn't see too much of that hitches and the 3D hitbox wonkiness. But then again, I didn't see that until I held that game in my hand the first time.
Yeah. See what you
So,
mean.
so like how that handles and how they handle that kind of hitbox stuff, that'll be really important. But I do hope that they fixed and they looked at what was wrong with it. With Injustice and MK9.
Hmm.
But we also did see a few characters for that. We saw what was it? Cassie Cage.
I'm terrible on names for these characters.
Yeah, I'm pretty
I
sure it was
know.
Cassie Cage because I remember just looking at that going, this is they couldn't have done like a blade pun. So for those of you that don't know, apparently the Sonya Blade and Johnny Cage have a kid. I I don't approve.
Why is that?
I don't think I've ever gone to a person and go, I don't like your relationship. Stop it.
Pretty sure that's selfish.
But it's like I look at this and like at least the way they're handling MK9, they didn't seem like as much of a chemistry as say maybe Johnny as Jax.
Hmm.
But again, maybe they'll explain this and flesh it out within the story mode of MK10. Which would, you know what? If they do that and they make it an actually a decently developed romance, that would be really good. That's the first really decently developed romance of fighting games that I know of.
There it is.
But no, it's like I'm interested. I'm cautious just because of this is an extensive revision and alteration of what MK9 did. So, and in ways, I want them to go further than what they did, but in other ways, I want them to pull back.
And how does that work? How
It
how can you expand and retract at the same time?
That's the dilemma. I want the feel of MK that I remember, but I also want them to develop as a franchise.
So you want them to keep the core but change the details.
And then it goes to how much can you change the details without affecting the core,
Exactly.
and like that's a whole thing. But
There's that balancing act again.
so that's enough about that's enough about Mortal Kombat. Legend of Zelda.
Ooh.
All right, so we got two things to talk about here: Hyrule Warriors, and the fact that there's a new Legend of Zelda for Wii U that's been announced that isn't a remake of Majora's Mask. I want my Majora's Mask remake.
It's gonna happen, Mike.
I,
Just keep believing.
I want it with super good HD graphics and well done 3D models. And
You
oh,
might you might be asking for a lot there, Mike. You might want to tone it down a little bit.
and I want a well developed. I want voice acting.
Okay, now you're pushing buttons, man.
But no, so they did well we've known about Hyrule Warriors and that's actually coming out really soon.
Mm.
We just saw a little bit more about it. I don't know what to say except that it's Dynasty Warriors with Legend of Zelda, which it looks like it's a good blend. Like you have enough of the elements of Legend of Zelda that it feels like you're playing kind of a Zelda game, but it's Dynasty Warriors in its core.
Yeah, those like 40 plus enemies on screen at the same time. That's Dynasty Warriors,
But like it's supposedly it's being made by the really good Dynasty Warriors team.
as opposed to the really bad Dynasty Warriors team.
Well, apparently there's a team that they make Dynasty Warriors, and all the ones that people are saying are terrible are made by just people in the company.
Oh,
That's just what I've heard. But so yeah, Legend of Zelda for the Wii U. We did get some details on that. And by details we literally just saw the character. But we saw very quick bits of it. But honestly, it's looking interesting. The only thing I would be excited about is if this is the first Legend of Zelda game where it's primarily focused on the Zelda as a playable character.
yeah, because Zelda is a beast. Just she's always getting rescued, so you kind of never notice.
I would love them to take advantage of that and rather than just be like, "Oh, feminists relax. We have Zelda as a protagonist."
Yay!
But it's basically Link. Like just
It's Link dressed up as Zelda just to make you happy.
yep. Like I like the game. Reviewing it, reviewing the video. It is Link on the Steed. I actually for a while there I couldn't tell for a little bit because I only saw a tiny bit of the trailer if it was Link or Zelda. It is Link in the trailer.
That's how you know your character looks too feminine.
But because all I saw was a cloak and a character with blonde hair and ears.
Ooh, that narrows the thing down to everybody in his village.
The blonde hair and the pointy ears. Only, as far as I know, only him, Zelda, and Ganon have that.
Exaggeration, my friend.
Okay, sorry, but like he has a new design, which is like a blue and yellow cloak with he has the bow and arrows as usual. But I would really, really like if they took the time to actually make Zelda a character that doesn't just feel like a damsel in distress, but actually like a viable, important character within the universe that they're making.
I mean, the damsel in distress is a very important character. I mean, without her, he would have nothing. He wouldn't have no adventure.
But like it's played out. It's been done so often.
I think the term you're looking for is cliche.
Thank you. It's I just like I would love to see them try something new.
I think that's what they're going with the whole Dynasty Warriors take on it.
And that's a good like take on it. You actually get the chance. I'm almost positive you get to play as Zelda. I haven't seen her in the game yet, but I
I
would be so shocked if she wasn't a playable character.
I saw her do some crazy shenanigans, like some Dragon Ball Z level crazy shenanigans in
Okay,
that game.
but like and like that's a really good take on it. Like yeah, Zelda is actually not a wimp. Zelda's actually incredibly powerful. It's the games that make her a wimp.
Like, oh please, Link, save me. Aren't you stronger than me? Shut up.
Stop bringing logic into this.
Like, don't you have all the magic? Aren't I just beating this strong guy over the head with the sword? Like, don't talk back. Just do it.
And even like still talking about the still talking about like the Wii U. We have like the Smash Bros and everything.
Mm, that's the system selling it. So,
Yeah, I think Wii U has a really good chance to start coming back and start being. I don't know if they can ever really like reclaim successfulness, but they can make. Well, no, they can be successful. I don't think they can make this a dominating year or a dominating generation.
that depends. 'Cause I mean, like, with the late game, with the, I said late game, with the long term views of Sony, they might be able to snatch some of their fans.
I can see that, but at the same time, it's just like they're such a huge pitfall right now. Like Microsoft is in a bad situation where they're being outsold 2-1.
Mm.
I think Wii U is being outsold like 5-1.
I don't think it's that bad. Because they were just right. They were right up there with Microsoft last time I checked.
I'll look at it again. I know it's actually they're being outsold by a decent amount by the Xbox One right now. And the Xbox
Yeah,
One, honestly, like people are saying like it's actually the sad part is being outsold 2-1 in this situation is actually not terrible because they're selling so many PS4s. That
that's not terrible for who? Sony?
they're still making no Microsoft's still making a decent amount is the weirdest part of this. It's like I look at 2-1 and I always think that like the person being outsold should be failing. They're not failing. They're just
It, it's not that Microsoft is going under. It's that Sony's doing extremely well with their console
like
sales.
that's the only portion of Sony that's doing good right now. Everything else is cutting in losses. Their gaming division is their most successful portion right now. It used to be their TVs, but everyone
And
has a TV now.
yeah, now they're trying to push the gaming onto the TVs with that new thing that they announced in their press conference.
The Vita TV.
Yeah, that thing
Wait,
where you can just
is
play your PlayStation Now on it, and you
is
can
it
just
what was it? Did they name it Vita TV or is it PlayStation TV? I know it's the Vita on the TV, but I
yeah, they have one for the video Vita on the TV. Then they have like this little box you can plug into you can plug your I think it's your DualShock 3 into it, and that way you can play your like PlayStation Now games on your TV, your Sony TV.
I
Add, add that.
I'm like looking at that. I'm like I don't know who this is for.
All
I,
10 people with Sony TVs.
like, I'm just like looking at that and I'm like, all right. So I actually own a Sony TV.
I know you do. I thought.
But I'm looking at that going, okay, here are the uses for a Vita TV. I need to record a Vita game for a YouTube video.
Go on.
That's all I can think of.
You could play your Vita with your friends without having them stand over your shoulders. I mean, if you have more than two friends, then that's going to become difficult because you don't have more than two shoulders.
I have one. I Let me put it this way: where are the Vita games for me to play with my friends?
Marvel?
I've looked through. I own a Vita. I've looked through for hours to find Vita games that I'm willing to spend the money on. I just go, that's a shitty version of a console game. That's a shitty version of a console game. Just going over and over. Those are just poor ports of console games. And then the ones that are exclusive to the Vita that are really good don't sell well enough that they get sequels or similar games.
Mm.
And it's the vicious cycle of there aren't any games on the system. I'm not going to buy the system. People aren't buying the system. They're not going to make games for it.
It just loops. But that's what happens when the big handheld powerhouse is Nintendo. It's like you,
And even that, looking at it like it's successful, like it wasn't even that success. It wasn't. It was actually doing pretty bad, like compared to the DS, which was a money printing machine. The 3DS wasn't doing that great up until the release of the new Pokemon for the 3DS.
but that's the thing. They have those games that can say, "Hey, look, I have a Pokemon game for my DS."
And
Now it makes you want to go out and buy one. This Vita doesn't have that.
until we have the HD remake of Final Fantasy VII on the Vita exclusive.
That would be silly. Why not make it for consoles too? So the people who have consoles have it, they can play it. You get more money that way.
But like you make that solely to sell a Vita. You make it exclusive to sell a Vita. That's like that. That'd be like
Y-
if they had a game with that kind of pull. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, they would need a game with that kind of pull, but
I mean,
that
personally, I
would be
wouldn't.
dividing the market. Remember?
Yeah, like what would happen if? Oh god, if they released Destiny for a single thing.
If Destiny is now console exclusive, it only plays to the place. What do you call that system? The PlayStation Micro, that little PS4 that they had one time that no one bought. It's exclusive to that.
Yeah, that's a good way to lose. What was it? $500 million?
Like, you don't need money. Just throw it in the fire.
Eh, that's the logic of some studios. I'm not joking.
That's the sad part.
But no, like, honestly, so like, from what I've seen, I'm really excited. I I want my Majora's Mask.
Just buy one and wear it to school.
You say that jokingly, but I probably would. That's
I
kind of the sad part.
know you would.
But no, like from what I've seen for this, like right now, in terms of like, if I'd have to say if somebody's winning, I would say Microsoft just because of the short-term hype. But I don't want to say that because honestly, like, there's enough PlayStation stuff that I'm excited about that I want to buy a console for. Granted, a lot of that stuff's pushed back long enough that I'm like, you know what, I don't need to buy it right now. But I am interested and I am excited, and you have my attention. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah, but that thought process of I don't need it right now is kind of a bad thing to them.
exactly though. That's why that's the only reason I say, you know what, for right now, I'd give it to Microsoft. And like, as much as I like Nintendo,
They
you
have that
have,
they have that one game, man. That by itself is a system seller.
and
You
it
know it.
is. But I'm sitting there going like, I'm just sitting there going, you know what? Had they physically been at E3 and really gone and like aggressively marketed themselves,
Mm.
I think they would have done very well. But they're going on this really, it's weird that they're making themselves this like facito culture within themselves with these digital releases, like these digital announcements and all these different things that I can't get hyped about that. Even though it's there, you're giving the same information. I can't get hyped because I'm not seeing people's reactions. When I see these announcements, I hear the reaction. I hear people reacting, and I can see you really addressing people. It's hard. You can play off people better than you can play off a camera.
Mm.
So the announcements are more visceral, even if you're giving the same information.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm feeling you.
But it's like I still am excited for Legend of Zelda, but I'm just looking at like I don't want to play another basic Zelda game. I want them to expand on different ideas. And Hyrule Warriors is a great idea. Like maybe take that combat system into a regular Zelda.
Ooh, you kind of went for the neck when you said basic.
Oh, oh, oh! I'm sorry. Even though I loved the old Zeldas, like, I want a Majora's Mask remake for God's sake. Just give it to me. But that's like the most abnormal Zelda game.
Mm. And there's that.
But then again, that's my personal opinion. You're making these Zelda games. You're gonna make them for the people that really like the the normal Zelda stuff, like the normal Zelda tropes and stuff like that, because that's your market. So for now, in my opinion, I say Microsoft has won this E3 battle, even though this is only really the first day.
Yeah, that's true.
But at the same time, though, I can't say like it's not like it was last year, where it was no one's gonna argue this.
Like, hey, Microsoft had a chance last year. It's like, no, they actively kicked themselves in the dick, and they wondered why Sony laughed at them. It's like, well, what'd you expect? This
But
time that Microsoft is like, I'm gonna go hard. So
go
Microsoft
hard or
went
go home.
hard. Exactly. Microsoft went hard this year, and Sony's. Let's just face it. The order was delayed. Nothing you
Like
can do. Not
and I think that's
metaphorically
actually
speaking.
a pretty that's actually one of the things. Like there was so many stuff like Microsoft is all now. They came out, they were smart because they had already announced a lot of their non-directly game related information before E3. So the entirety
Mm,
of E3 was them talking about their games. It was them hyping up their games.
yeah, they got rid of the hard part early.
And Sony didn't follow that idea and instead spent the time talking about like stuff like what we said, this Vita TV. I only know of 3 people that bought it, and the only reason they bought it was to do YouTube videos.
What, the Vita?
Yeah, the Vita TV. I own a Vita. I know like a couple people that own a Vita. I
I
know
know
one of
one.
them that actually owns a game.
Are you that one?
No, I don't. I own, no, actually no. I own Mortal Kombat. I own a I own a dumbed down version of Mortal Kombat.
Ooh, these are those charged words, aren't you?
Well, I'm like, but at the same time though, like I look at this and go, there are there are things you can do here. You have 2 touch screens. Why aren't you taking advantage of that? But they did actually talk about a lot of stuff. They did talk about stuff for the Vita, but it really feels like it's just being shoved under the bed. Because you have this stupidly successful PS4. So, all in all, though, I just enjoying E3 this year. Like, this one feels like, because they're both almost on, like, even though they have different objectives almost, they're both close enough that they are have to deal with each other.